I've decided, after 35 years of inactivity student-wise, to become a student of psychology, or study counselling, or look long-term at being a therapist. And because of 50 and coping, I have reconnected with Laura. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
Now, what we thought we'd do, I am literally at the beginning in a whole mess of different courses. So I am doing a child psychology course, I am doing a counselling course, and an OU access module into psychology, social science and well-being. Why am I doing 3 at once? Because I'm an idiot. What happened was I didn't think I would get any funding, and all of the funding was available, and now I am doing 3 courses when I possibly should be doing 1. Mm-hmm. So, Laura, what do you do for a living?
I'm a psychotherapist.
You are? Mm-hmm. Okay. Psychotherapy, not psychology.
No, we've had this conversation before, haven't we?
Yeah, I called Laura a psychologist. Now then, we're going to have to look at then the difference between psychologist and psychotherapist, and why I can't get it into my brain. So what I know you're going to say there is no, there's no rules, but you've got to tell me something, Laura.
Okay, I don't know how to sort of explain it in a way that sounds easily understandable, and I also really don't know the definitive answer either.
Okay.
But I'm a psychotherapist, so my training was in psychotherapy. Now, one way of explaining it, I guess, is that I did an MA, so a Master of Arts in psychotherapy. Now, I've got colleagues who've done an MSc in psychology, which is a Master of Science.
Right.
So that suggests that psychotherapy is more of an art than a science.
Oh, okay.
So psychology is more scientifically based than psychotherapy. So, I don't know, does that help?
It does help in a way, but when you're looking at the inside of people's reactions to the world and how they're struggling, being able to cope, that's psychotherapy, right? Yeah. So psychology is more the mechanics, the actual synapses and the chemical reactions.
Yes.
So a Master of Science gets you to psychology, a Master of Arts gets you to psychotherapy.
Yeah.
In the loosest of all terms.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, I need to ask something as well, right? I'm never going to do this.
Go on.
But when you do a Master's, what does that mean?
So it's like doing a degree, a BA, which is a Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah.
So then you write a research project or a dissertation afterwards, and that is what converts it into a Master's.
So is that one big subject, or is that one small subject? Is it linear? Is it what is it?
Well, the actual Master's programme is on psychotherapy, and then you choose a topic to write your dissertation about.
Okay.
And that is very specific.
Is it rude to ask you what yours was?
Oh God, it was something like studying shame in countertransference.
Oh, now I happen to know what transference is, but okay. I don't know. Right, so transference is where I am angry and you are happy, and I transfer what you say into an angry reaction when it isn't. Is that transference?
That is a type of transference, yes.
Okay, so what's countertransference?
So in the context of my dissertation, countertransference is my reaction as a therapist to your material as a client.
Yeah.
Some of that belongs to me and some of it belongs to you.
Interesting.
So I can have an emotional reaction to the things that you're talking about. It might be that I'm picking up on your shame, or it might be that it's eliciting shame in me.
Okay, because it rings a bell with you. Oh God, that's really exciting. You see, this is why I want to get involved in all this stuff. Right, we're going to talk in this program about the first steps. Now, I'm not leading a crusade for the world to become psychologists, psychotherapists. What is wrong with me? Why can't I actually get it right? Well, what do I want to be?
The thing is, Jim, you are studying psychology and I am a psychotherapist, so it stands to reason that there's going to be some confusion, isn't there? Because it isn't a really clear line.
No, it's not. Right, so it's not like doing maths and English.
No.
Right, it's like doing psychology, psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Because there's overlap.
Yes.
Okay, but still, I should probably learn my own subject, shouldn't I? Anyway, okay, so why did you want to be a psychotherapist?
Well, it all started when I was in treatment, and we were, I think we might have touched on this before, but I was in a group therapy environment, and as a peer, I was invited to give feedback to my peers in the group. And I really enjoyed that, and it was picked up by the counsellors that I was quite insightful in my feedback, so I noticed things, and I was curious about those things. So they kind of suggested to me, maybe you might want to be a counsellor one day, you know, that perhaps you might be interested in that. And the thing is, where I was at the time, so I'm in a group therapy setting in a rehab for addiction. The last job I'd had was running a bar. So I knew I couldn't go back to that. The thought of going back into like an office environment just filled me with dread, because that wasn't great for me either. I really didn't have very many options. So when that seed was planted, I kind of just ran with it and thought, yeah, actually I'd love to do this job, you know. Looking at the counsellors in the group, thinking, this is an amazing way to earn a living.
Do you know, okay, so my journey is similar, apart from I didn't have the group therapy sessions or 12 steps. I did it myself because at the time I was a little bit skewed towards the 12 steps. I've got a whistly thing because of these stupid teeth. Right, so when I was doing 50 and Coping, which I still am, which is the other show, everyone started saying, you know that you've got these responses and you look at things a different way. And a friend of mine called Nikki had come to me for help, just to talk, because I will listen. And you know, I understand that when somebody talks to you, it's not the fact that they want you to relate. It's not the fact, oh, I did that too, because they want them to be them and allowed to shine the light on their problem. And listening properly is not as easy as everyone thinks. So we'll touch on that in a later tape. So, you know, I kind of started thinking, and then Lee came out and said it, look, we've been talking behind your back. And I'm like, right. And he said that you would be a really good counsellor or a therapist if you can get there. My initial reaction was laugh and go, yeah, of course, because I can study, I can do that. Because if you think about it, I'm 50, as we all know, right? But I haven't studied anything for 35 years. I haven't been in a school, and when I was at school, quite frankly, it was all about conflict and you know. So how could I do that? Have you got any advice for anyone who basically thinks that it's not possible to move on?
I have, actually, and this is what I say to people who ask me that question, because people do come to me sometimes and ask about my journey into my profession, and what I always say is just start at the beginning. Don't look at the whole thing, because if you do, you'll get overwhelmed and then you'll just think, oh, I'm never going to do that. But if you look at the very first step, which is what was suggested to me, so the people that identified the kind of talent that I had, for want of a better word, in sort of listening and giving feedback and whatnot, said to me, do an introduction to counselling course. It's like a 12-week course or a 10-week course. You can do it of an evening. You know, it's not a massive commitment. You probably get funding for it if you're on a low wage or you're unwaged. And that's what I did, and that's what I always suggest to other people, is just start at the very, very beginning. Don't be too proud. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a, you know, really simple basic course. Just try it, because there's no big commitment, there's no massive financial commitment, and also if you hate it, then
just walk away.
Exactly.
I think the most important part of me starting learning this was knowing that, you know, the only person this was going to affect was me. The only person I was going to let down if I didn't do it was me, and I was okay with that. You know, I've done a lot of things. You know, I have 3 businesses at this point, you know, and everyone was like, well, you're too busy to do it. And it's like, I'm not, you know, I am not too busy to do this. So the 3 courses that I am on, the one that is really interesting me the most at this point is the counselling course. It is an actual qualification. It doesn't mean an awful lot, but it is a qualification. It means that I can start at the bottom of the counselling run. What is the difference between a counsellor and a therapist?
Nothing. Semantics.
And qualifications.
Well, no. I mean, you can if you're a qualified counsellor, you can call yourself a therapist.
Oh, can you?
The two are interchangeable.
Right. So to become a fully qualified counsellor therapist, how long does that take?
I would say on average it would probably take you 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. So I am at the very beginning of a very long journey.
Don't say very long.
Well, it feels
you are
very
at the
long.
very beginning of a longish journey. It will fly by, Jim.
Yeah, no,
honestly.
it will. Do you know what my actual fear is? I'm just going to be too old to actually change. Then I've got to build a new business out of that. You don't just qualify, click your fingers and have a queue of people.
No, you don't. But again, you're looking to the end result.
Yeah.
And thinking that's never going to happen. You just take it one step at a time. And 2 things I'm going to say to you. Firstly, is nobody wants a young therapist.
Right.
Nobody wants to sit in front of a 20-year-old.
That's lucky.
Because what do they know? And secondly, male therapists are like rocking horse shit. So just the fact that you're a man means that you are going to have an instant source of clients, because there are loads of people out there that want specifically a male therapist, and there really aren't that many.
Okay.
So, thinking, am I ever going to attract any clients? Believe me, you will. By the time you've finished your training, you will.
Yeah, because also you can work as well in the field while you're training. You can go.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to have a placement. So by the time you get into about your 3rd year, you will have to go and be a trainee counsellor somewhere and see clients.
Cool.
Face to face.
Yeah.
You have to do that as part of your training.
So that's fine. I mean, I'm in it. I'm all the way in it. Actually, do you know what? When I first started this, I just realised that every barrier I put up was just me being negative.
Dick.
Yeah, me being a dick. We know that I have that propensity, Laura, do we not? Right. The first problem that I saw was, I don't know anything about this, what do I do? Right, so you said you need to find an introduction to counselling. I'm not doing an introduction to counselling, am I? I'm doing the next one on.
Okay.
Which is stupid.
Why?
Oh, because I'm an idiot.
But if they've let you on, then they must think that you're capable of doing it.
Well, you have to do this. This is really funny, right? So they ask you what you're doing, where you're going, who you are. Then they go, what's your national insurance number, and check out what you're earning. Then they go, maths questions, and you go, what? And then you realise that the maths questions are infant maths questions. And then they do an English thing to make sure you can write a sentence. Well, I can write a sentence. And then they give you a percentage of what they think. So this is a level 2 counselling course.
Brilliant.
Right? And they put me on that, and then they come back because I got 100% in the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that going, look at me. What I'm saying is I have not learnt anything for 35 years in a classroom scenario. I've learned through the world of life, but I just sat down and did it. Once I'd gotten out of my own way.
Yes, exactly. This is, all of this stuff about I'm never going to do it, it's too much, I'm not clever enough, or I can't learn, that's all in your head, Jim.
And it's all bullshit. I mean, you can learn. Whoever you are, there is some level you can learn to, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it should be said as well, we're not just talking about psychotherapy here, we're talking about every damn thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to start afresh, if you are, I'm 50, right? And I've got 20 years left on this planet, if I'm lucky, with my lifestyle, is the way I see it, which you'll probably pull apart. But if I'm willing to do that, that should give somebody the hope that actually anyone can do anything at any time. Which I think is awesome. Well,
you can at least have a go at it.
That's the thing.
That, at least give yourself the chance. Maybe you can't. I'm sure that I couldn't be a neuroscientist. I'm sure of that because, I wouldn't. But just have a go. If you get a year into it, if you do the level 2 and you realise actually this isn't for me, or this isn't quite for me, or I'd like to do something slightly different, at least you've tried.
Yeah. There is no shame in stepping into a field if it interests you.
No.
And there is no shame also. The reason I bought into this completely is because I enjoy 50 and coping so much, and I've reconnected with you, and I've met all these amazing people who've gone through some terrible shit, right? But every single one of them has come out the other side, and they found a way to cope. And coping is what this is. I've just hit the table and the microphones have all gone bang. Sorry about that. Okay, right. So what are my first steps? So how do you find a course, do you think?
Well, to be honest with you, I just think just have a look on Google, because there are a lot of courses out there, and they're all much of a muchness, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't done tons of research, but they all teach pretty much the same kind of thing. My advice to people is make it as easy as you can for yourself. So don't choose a course that is, in Scotland and you're in London, or your journey's going to be challenging enough without making it more difficult for yourself.
Well, by actually having to travel,
so just find something that is convenient and doable, and doesn't feel like it's going to absolutely be a complete nightmare. Just find one that feels like it's simple and it's doable, and just take it one step at a time.
That's the key. Right, so I went to the OU, Open University, first, and they had a module which is, like I say, psychology, social sciences and wellbeing access module. Now, I don't want to be a psychologist, but this module also opens the doors to psychotherapy. So if I can do this and I can pass to a higher level, they will suggest the course that I need to do next, which is either a diploma, because you don't have to have a degree in psychotherapy to be a counsellor.
No.
But if you have a level whatever diploma in counselling, it's a 4-year course. So look at the realities of the learning as well. Some will take you 6 years, right? Some will take you 4 years. But also I think you have to ignore, as you said, how long this takes. Just be in it. And make it work around the life that you have. Everyone has to eat. Everyone has to feed their kids. Everyone has to feed their life, whatever. But you can find a way. I mean, I'm not the normal student either. I'm quite sporadic about when I do it. But I am ahead in every single one of these courses. Because I know that there will be a week where I cannot do a damn thing. And my tutor, weird, from the OU called me this morning while I was walking down the street. Basically, he's been missing in action for the last 3 weeks because his internet went down, poor fella, and he's obviously completely traumatized by the whole thing because all of this is online. So he is supposed to call me and do this and do that, and he couldn't because all of his information was on the cloud thing, and he didn't have it. So he phoned me this morning while I was walking from the co-op after buying my lunch. I was going to tell you what my lunch was then, and then I realised that no one cared. Shame that. And he just checked in. He said, all right, I need to check in with you. Are you okay to do the TMA1, which is the first thing? And I said, well, I've already done it. And he went, what? And then he looked and went, oh God, you've submitted it. And I went, yeah, is that bad? And he went, no. He said, well, the whole point of this tutorial is to tell you all about how to do it. And I went, oh, I've done that.
So why is it that you think you can't learn? Because
I think I can't do a lot of things. I have an enormous amount of baggage in my brain. It's become very, very obvious over the years that I have body dysmorphia in some form. I do not lack self-control in the moment, but I think being told by Haileybury that I wouldn't amount to anything and I would never get any exams, and then getting 2 A's, 5 B's and 3 C's in my GCSEs, all I heard about that was you will not. And I got all the exams I wanted. I didn't give a shit. So
this is about looking at the evidence, isn't it? Because your thinking is part of the problem, but when you look at the evidence, something that's tangible, you can learn, you can study, you are bright, you know how to study. So it's about not listening to that
the inner demon voice. I've struggled with that all my life. I think also I've done a lot of things in my life and I've never seen anything as successful. I mean, I've had tattoo shops for, I don't know, 25 years. And also it always feels like I'm walking on a tightrope. You know, I have been well off, but that was only when I was involved in nefarious things. And I had a lot of cash. and I had a lot of this and a lot of that. But then that brings you a whole new set of things. The brutal fact of the matter is that every month I am able to pay my house rent, my kid has clothes, we have food, and that's it. There are no frills to my life. And I think when I set out in life, my journey was from my dad being incredibly poor as a vicar. I didn't want that. But you can't make your life about money, because if you do, you're always looking for the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't know. You've come out of addiction, and you have worked your way up to being totally qualified human being. But you're probably still learning, right?
Absolutely, always still learning, always.
How did you feel when? Because I think you grasped this. I want to be a counsellor. I want to do this, right? Was there ever a moment when you went, hold on a minute, I haven't written an essay since whenever. I haven't done that. Did you have doubt, or did you just grasp it?
I didn't have that. Like at the beginning, I just got on with it. I think I quite enjoyed having the focus of the study, because everything in my life was kind of up in the air. I didn't really have anywhere to live, not a proper home and blah, blah, blah. So I enjoyed having it as a focus. As I got further along, oh my God, the times, Steve and I lived on the 12th floor of a tower block, and the times that I was sat in our kitchen writing essays, and I used to think, I'm just going to throw myself off the balcony. I think it'll be easier than trying to plough through it. It was such a slog towards the end. I did a very academic course for whatever reason. I don't know why I picked it, but I did. And there were loads of times where I wanted to throw in the towel, loads of times where, I just felt like this is never ending. But it's funny, because we had a neighbour, and I remember talking to her about it, and she said to me, Laura, just keep your eyes on the prize. And I've never forgotten that. And, that for me, that it was so helpful, because I just had to get to the end. Yeah. And once you've got that qualification, that piece of paper, no one can ever take that away from you.
No.
So you've just got to get there, just focus really. And if you're passionate about it, which you are, that will help, because you'll want to do the reading, you'll want to do the research.
Yeah, I'm an inherently lazy human being in my own perception myself, but I'm not. There are lots of things that I do, but also, I would be expecting to be behind, or I haven't been able to catch up, I haven't worked for this. The only one that I had to ask for an extension on one of them was the first assessment on the child psychology one, because they put me in a course that had been running for 3 weeks, and then they gave me the deadline of the day that I started. And I'm like, yeah, no. So I had to write a little thing and say I need an extension, and they were like, what's the reason? I'm like, you started me 3 weeks late. And they went, oh yeah, okay, have a week. And then the next assessment, they were like, what so okay. And I went, no, I've caught up. And they were like, oh, I'll crack on then. So, I do have a propensity for it. Also, I'm interested in it.
Exactly.
It is becoming clear where I want to be as well, and that is the counselling road.
Great.
But that's been the couple of months that I'm on it.
Brilliant.
Okay, so first steps. The first step is to just dip your toe in the water, right? Find yourself a course. And also, there are free courses on the internet that are qualifications. They're not spurious. You go through an actual college. So the counselling course is a course that's up north, but their station is down here. But I'd never need to speak to anyone, actually, unless on the phone. The Open University is wherever it is, all over the place. The child psychology one is a Herefordshire college. So, it will send you around the place, but these are not Tupney, Halfpenny people. These are actual universities. You're doing actual university work. So I think it's important to see that you're comfortable with the level of the course. Now, if you Google the course and what kind of things you go through, you can find the outlines of all these courses. So just have a little look about what you want to do, the direction you want to go in, but also don't put too much on yourself.
Don't look too far ahead. Because it may be that you are perfectly capable of doing a master's, getting a PhD, whatever, but if you look at that end result, you're going to start to panic. But if you rein it right back into, right, what have I got to do? So for you, it's level 2, 1 year, whatever it is, which is perfectly doable for you. And I bet for millions of other people, just try the first little bit. If you don't like it, walk away. There's, you haven't lost anything. No. You might have learned some stuff about yourself, about life, about whatever. And it might have cost you a couple of £100, but at least you'll know. It's not like sitting at home and thinking, I'd love to do that, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
It is a bit of a cliche, isn't it? Like, everyone goes, you can achieve anything you want. Well, the brutal fact of the matter is, unless it's like a doctorate in bloody neuroscience or whatever, then you have to be something else to get to something else. But even that, you can get to there and then you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think the most important message from both of us to anyone who's looking to do anything, remember, yes, okay, this is master and student psychotherapy, right? But it's not just about that. If you want to be a dog walker, or if you want to be something else that I can't think of another job whatsoever, if you want to be, a tax accountant, right? You have to go and study all that. But you have to start somewhere. And that's the same with everything. Everything is little steps. If you're in a hurry to get to the end, you're more than likely to be looking at it the wrong way, and you're going to get in your own way. So look, what we're looking at is the whole thing about learning, about I'm the student, she's the psychotherapist, right? So we're going to carry on doing this show, bits and pieces. The next one is going to be about coping with learning, understanding certain concepts and taking some notes. But until then, from Laura and from me, we'll see you next time.